everybody, it's Nevada. Today we're going to be talking about the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and the 6 takeaways that I got from that book. Make sure you stick around to the end because the 6th one is probably my favorite and I think probably the most important. If you like today's video, just make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button, even that bell notification so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. So let's dive in. Robert Kiyosaki grew up in a small town going to a school where all of the rich kids in the town actually went to. And he, one of his best friends' dad was who he considers his rich dad in the book. And then his dad was his educated dad, who he considers his poor dad. So his educated dad actually had a PhD. He was very well educated. And his rich dad didn't even actually graduate from high school. And so those are the 2 dads he talks about throughout the book and the different mindsets and beliefs, financial beliefs that they had while he was growing up. The first takeaway that I got from the book is that the rich buy assets and the poor and the middle class buy liabilities that they think are assets. So you first have to understand the author's definition of a liability and an asset. So he says that assets are anything that put money into your bank account. So examples of an asset would be stocks, bonds, real estate, a business that doesn't take up much of your time. Those are all assets. They're all putting money into your bank account. Whereas a liability is something that is taking money out of your bank account. Examples of liabilities are like your house, your car, any sort of toys that you have, RVs, anything that's taking money out of your bank account, which is, different than what we kind of, would be different than what I grew up thinking. Everybody always learns that your house is your biggest asset, but it does kind of make sense to change that mindset and think of, anything that's bringing money in is an asset. Anything that's taking money out is a liability. So takeaway number 2 is that the rich use their knowledge of corporations. So the author talks about the Robin Hood, the Robin Hood theories, take from the rich and give to the poor. But he says that, the true rich really, they just kind of outsmart the system. So they figure out how to pay less in taxes because their knowledge base is so broad that they understand how to use corporations. They understand the law, so they know how to get around those and find those loopholes so that they're actually paying less in taxes. So they use corporations to put their money into the corporation, and then what happens is they earn their money and then they spend all the money that they can and then they pay taxes. Whereas the regular employee earns money, pay taxes, and then you get to spend money. So they use their broad knowledge base of corporations and law to get around having to pay so much in taxes. It really becomes, instead of the rich paying the poor, it becomes more of the middle class paying the poor, because the rich know how to, their knowledge base is just so broad, they know how to get around that and find those loopholes. Takeaway number 3 is mind your own business. So what he means by that is making sure that you have your own, that you're working towards basically being your own boss and owning your own business in whatever sense that means. He talks a lot in his book about owning real estate or starting in stocks. When most people are asked what their business is, they respond with the company that they work for or their job title. But they're not the owner of the company, and their job title shouldn't be, who they are. So what the author is trying to say is stop focusing on your income and start focusing on your assets. When your income comes in, put it into stocks or put it into real estate. And with stocks, he talks about you don't have to have large amounts of money to put into stocks. You can have small amounts of money to start in the stock market. And so just instead of focusing on your income, focus on building your asset column and finding out what it is that you like, the stocks or real estate, and start putting your money into that. And in doing that, minding your own business, you will eventually become financially free, which I think is ultimately the goal. So takeaway number 4 is learn to manage risk, don't avoid it. In the book, the author states he's never met a rich person who hasn't lost money, but he's met plenty of poor people who have never lost a dime. And so he's basically saying that, you can't, if you always avoid risk, you're never going to get a big reward. So again, he talks about, even just taking small amounts of money and putting them into the stock market and just expanding your knowledge base on investments to be able to start small. And he says, take those small amounts, set them aside, and pretend like it's already gone. So then that makes risk taking easier. You're not worried about losing it because you already think that it's gone. He says is one of the biggest problems with people is just the fear of losing money. So if you take those small amounts of money and set them aside and you're going to put them into the stock market, set it aside and pretend like it's already gone. So then you're not worried about losing the money. Number 5 is educate yourself in personal finance. It's what the author calls your financial IQ. So he recommends becoming familiar with accounting, investing, the market, and the law. So those are your, that would be your knowledge base of your financial IQ. If you can become competent in those, then you are well on your way to having a higher financial IQ. He also says that your most powerful asset is your mind. And with all the information that's available out there today, there's no reason we can't be working on growing your biggest asset, which is your mind, on a daily basis. And then lesson number 6 is my favorite, which is take action. You can't, if you learn something and then you don't take action on it, you're not doing anything. You can learn all you want, but if you don't take action, then you're never going to succeed. You're never going to get to that next level. He talks about where he would go and take a seminar. He says he takes lots of seminars on real estate and how to invest and all that. And then as soon as he's done with that seminar, the next weekend he goes out and he takes action so that he can, do what it is they were telling him to do, what he learned. You have to take what you've learned and take action. That is the biggest thing. Thanks again for joining me on this video, guys. If you liked it, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell notification. Have a great day. Bye-bye.